Hey, empath. I'm here to share a message that I just received in a dream. I actually, yesterday, set an intention to be open to receive an answer to a question that I had. And then last night, I fell asleep watching Outlander, so it doesn't surprise me that I dreamed that I was in the woods. But while I was in the woods, I came across a young girl, and it was up to me to decide whether or not she should be allowed to join our group or if we should just pretend like we hadn't found her. She was a missing girl, but not like a little child, teenage missing girl. And I had to use my intuition and listen to know whether or not she meant us harm, whether she was in danger, whether she was going to, whether she needed us or was she, dangerous to us. And I remember talking to someone after we crossed paths with this girl about how I was so sure, even though I didn't know her, And what it came down to is that you have to be willing. What I said was having a strong relationship with your inner guidance it doesn't come cheap. You have to be willing to risk being wrong. You have to be willing to risk missing out on a situation or an opportunity a few times before you get to the point to where you are confident and you understand what the signals mean, what the messages mean, what this feeling, this sensation in your body means, or what this voice is telling you, depending on how your gifts work and what your inner authority is and all of those different things. It's going to be different for all of us, which is why another person cannot just tell you and give you the key to it. You have to actually have those experiences, miss those opportunities, catch the ones that were right for you at the time, and keep going and understand that none of it is error, none of it is detrimental or completely missed opportunities that you needed and you just messed up. If it's for you, it's for you. It'll come around again in a different way, or you will line up with what you were meant to get from that in a different way. And there's no way to track it, so you don't need to. There's no need to keep score of those type of things. So if you're emotionally defined, you're going to have a impulse, it's going to feel like a need to just jump in and say yes to everything all the time. Yes, I'm here for you. Yes, I can do that. Yes, I can help you, but your inner authority is emotional, meaning you actually need time to go through your emotional wave and feel all the feels about this subject before you actually commit and say yes. So in the long run, you taking that time that you need is beneficial to everybody involved, because if you say, yes, I can do that, and then you don't have the energy to do it, they've lost all of that time. They've lost all of that trust in you, all of that hope, while you try to figure out how to do it, even though you didn't have energy for it or the skills or the, talent to do the thing that you promised that you would do, right? So it's better for everybody involved for us to be in alignment and for us to be connected to our inner authority and listen to our guides. So you have to actually do the work to figure out how that's done. If you are sacral, so you're a generator or a manifesting generator, you're going to get in the moment, right now, feedback on what you have energy for. So say, for instance, you're dog tired and someone says, hey, you want to go hiking? Your sacral is automatically going to go, mm-mm. It's an automatic in the moment feeling. If they say, do you want to go hiking in the morning? You don't know, because you're dog tired right now. You might still get a mm-mm. It's because you need to know, you need to wait and check in with your inner authority in the moment at the time. So say, for instance, something that you said that you could do yesterday comes around, but now you don't have energy for that thing. When you check in with yourself, if you know to check in with yourself, which is another really important practice before you, run off on an adventure, you might get a mm-mm. And it's important to listen to that and know. And in the instances where you deploy your free will and say, you know what, I know I don't have the energy for this, but I'm going to push through. I'm going to do it anyway. Maybe you're ego defined and you have that backup generator. Or maybe it just feels that important. It feels more important to you than showing up as your authentic self, right? So you decide, all right, I'm going to go anyway. I'm going to do this anyway. Do that for yourself, knowing that, hey, this might not be the best situation for me. I might be in a horrible mood. I might fall in a random hole. Something might happen to confirm that I should not have gone on this, particular voyage, but I'm doing it anyway because my free will. And instead of looking at that as why do bad things happen to me? What have I become? When that bad thing happens, or the not so desirable thing happens, instead you tell yourself, I knew that this was going to happen. I knew that I was a little off, a little out of alignment. I made that choice, and this is fine. I'm going to get through this. I rolled my ankle. It's fine. It'll heal. Instead of taking that as maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I'm, maybe I'm off course. Where do I belong kind of thing. Instead, you do that knowing that it's against your better judgment, against your guidance. If you are, let's see, what's another one? Splenic. Splenic is another one that is in the moment. And it's a voice that isn't that loud, so you have to really be tuned into it. You have to really pay attention when you get a whiff of a certain smell, like why does it smell like smoke in here, or whatever it is. You're depending on how your gifts are set up, your splenic guidance is going to be different. It might be a voice, it might be a sensation, right? Whatever that is, it's going to be reliable. If you're splenic, it's going to be consistent. You're going to be able to use it as a language between you and your soul, your guidance. And from there, you build that rapport, you build that vocabulary, that library, so that all right, when my left knee twitches, this means that. If I smell smoke and nothing's on fire here, that's my sign, that's my cue. If I smell a rat and can't nobody else smell it, all right, it's time for me to go home. And you have to be willing to look stupid. You have to be willing to miss out on the party. You have to be willing to miss out on the conversation or what have you, in order to stay in alignment with your higher self. If you were in a room with a whole bunch of people and Jesus suddenly got up and left, wouldn't you follow him? If you were walking down the street and you see some guys in SWAT vests or bomb squad vests running in the opposite direction, wouldn't you run too? It's following that guidance regardless of not having all of the information, because you're never going to have all the information. And trying to make decisions that way gets you into mental energy. Trying to collect all the facts, all of the how did this happen yesterday? How did this person experience it? What does it look like now? All of those types of things, you're building up all of that mental energy. You're creating a thought form around this specific topic, and now you're trapping yourself into a mental loop. That's why nobody's inner authority is the mind. Some people will have something similar to that, but for most people, it's going to be your sacral or your solar plexus or your spleen. So that's what I had about that. You have to be willing to risk it all. You have to be willing to risk the bad things, and you have to let yourself know, have that reassurance in yourself that nobody else is going to be able to experience this like you experience it. It's a one-on-one, you, yourself, and spirit kind of situation. So when it comes to guidance, sometimes, you are meant to be the outer authority for somebody that is following you, for like the example of my dream. I was with a group of people. So that decision, had I not listened to my guidance and been like, oh, well, she's just a little kid, like, actually she's a teenager. Yes, she could still be dangerous, but me, deciding, like, okay, we should not ring the alarm that we found her, because that would put her in danger, but we can't let her join our group either, because that puts us in danger. Me being able to make that decision despite the fact that, most people, you want to help somebody, you want to save somebody, you want to, offer them the protection that you have. It looked like a situation where that would have been the best option, but my inner guidance was telling me that's not the best way to handle this. We gotta just, give her what little supplies or provisions that we can spare that she needs and let her go on her way, because that's the best outcome for all involved, regardless of what it looks like. There was no way to see ahead into the future, and no, there was no need to see ahead into the future, and no, I just had that relationship with my inner guidance that let me know this was a and you can't build that without experiences. You can't build that without being wrong sometimes. You can't build that without trusting it, in the face of other things that look like they might be the right decision, You have to be able to follow that instead of money. You have to be willing to follow that instead of power. You have to be willing to follow that instead of authority figures. You have to be willing to just follow that, period. And know that what comes out at the other end is better for you. So even if, say for instance, we were to then have something bad happen to us after that, right? We cross paths with this girl, and then all of a sudden there's a fire, or all of a sudden we fall, or, whatever. Like, you have to be able to categorize that as something separate. That was going to happen anyway. That was the best outcome anyway. That was, it's not the end of the world. Bad things still happen, and it doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong. It's just good things happen, bad things happen. Everything happens all the time to everybody. And it doesn't mean that you are off course or that you did something wrong, that something bad is happening to you. And I feel like a lot of times we start making changes and start looking at things differently because of something bad that happened, even though we're not at the end of the story yet. We don't know why that thing happened yet. Sometimes a bad thing is the best thing that could happen in the situation. Something needed to fall apart so that something else could be built. Something needed to get burnt down so that something else could be found underneath what it was built there, that kind of thing. So, I feel like I'm rambling at this point. The message was just about keeping in contact with your inner guides and understanding how to connect with your inner guidance, and knowing that it's a messy process. It's not going to be, fairy tale idyllic the whole way. You're going to have confusing things happen. You're going to have exciting things happen. You're going to have bad things happen. And at the end of the day, you are going to come out stronger for it because you understand how you contributed to the outcomes. And you're going to understand the times that you listened and things went as well as they could, and the times that you didn't listen and you had not so great outcomes, or maybe you missed an opportunity, or, something to that effect. But at the end of it, as long as you're still here, you're doing good, right? As long as you're still here, you're undefeated, and there's an opportunity to do better the next time. All right, that's all I've got for you, and I guess I'll be back soon with another random message that I got. And leave me a comment if this was helpful, or if you got something while you were listening to it. That is a common thing to happen when you listen to a message from spirit or a channel message, that you will start hearing things that are related but kind of off topic, that you needed to hear more than the message that was there. All right, bye now.